we're gonna crack a new case, make the world a better place, and be the greatest partners of all time!
Maybe we can all embrace our differences and be better together.
A toy carrot recorder pin.
I can frame you too.
Now today's bad guy is this customs inspector. You want to put bad guys away? Be on the same page every day. At the ZPD, partnership is the cornerstone of success.
Chief, hi. If you're looking for Nick and Judy, they said they got it.
Hello? This whole area is restricted. You can't be here. Whoa, Fox and Bunny.
Are you sure this will work?
You're the one that said we needed a buzz. Just follow my lead, okay?
I'm casual.
Hey!
I know you're eager to prove yourselves, but as rookies, you will observe only and watch the veteran teams.
We decided to come down here to this beautiful industrial shipyard.
Anyway, you gotta leave. You can't be here.
Oh,
Wait. You know, the one thing this little stinker wished for was to see a choo-choo.
Really? All right, for the kid. For the kid.
Oh, you're a saint.
I put a little train there because I know you like trains. It's the fun!
stop! Hudson Wild in pursuit of suspect in a stolen catering van.
My hog rod! This is a snail brain!
Back off, rookies! Let the real teams handle it!
Ma'am, we are a real team.
Darling, I believe your driving's giving me some white hairs. Beautiful!
I'll have what he's having.
I think that's dumb, Bunny.
Beautiful. Wild in pursuit of heat. In this video, we dive into the movie, Zootopia. We will discuss the storyline, summarize the plot, and explore the cast and character. Additionally, we will cover the movie production detail and box of performance. Finally, we will provide reviews and share personal reaction. So, let's get started. The film opens after Ride Judy Hopes, Ginnifer and Nick Wilter exposed on Belly Nefarious plan to turn Zootopia against Predator. Since then, Judy and Nick have become a famous cop, due known for his saving the city. Newly elected actor turned Mayor Brand and Bring to the Tube celebrate Zootopia's 100th anniversary, a reinvention of the virtual wall that separately different environment that allow everyone to coexist. Chief Bogo reads out assignment to his officer, but Judy and Nick have already gone off to the dogs to deal with the thing, and so Johan, who is operating smuggling ring, dog juice seeking in a pretending to be parent with Phoenix. But Boo healing to Judd's wife, Wacky alerts and causes him to start driving away. Judy and Nick engaged in a high speed, she across the city, even as the other officer tried to enter a trial of destruction and destroy a statue, but shortly gets arrested afterward. Judy finds a snake skull in the back of Suguri, avenges Judy and Nick for what they did, and orders them to do the cases he assigned them, or he will separate them up. He has them attend a partner crosses, 4 group led by Coca Tropes, Dr. Profusely. Jody and Nick acknowledge they have some differences, but they see themselves as a dream team dream, so they do not worry at home. Jory continued to work until she overheard the news report about a gala being thrown by the wealthy Alexei family, whose Accenture abandoned drug supply for Zootopia, that you sneak into the gala trying to avoid. Declare Officer Judy run into power, and with lines his family, and who is not expected by his father. Milton him as his older siblings Catrick and Kitty Brina's song. Meanwhile, Nick finds a snack girl and sees a hooded figure in the gala boo-like, and try to haul film away until he draws attention to Dory figure. He fails from the end into this leg as Myler is giving space, revealing himself to be a pit viper named Gary Dakey. Jokes break out and Gary tries to get away with a Milton and a journal. Judy and Nick gives Jay, but when Judy catches up, Vogo shows up and accidentally gets knocked by a 1-hour Gary's fang. Thus, neglectingly ask him take the journal because it will mean Gary's family can come home at last, then ignore him with a firing frying pan. Catrick and Kitty show up and Wilson attempt to kill Gary and Kitty's journal back, but a trio make it through a window and Judy grabs the journal. Judy and Nick are brought to Mr. Big's warehouse where they unite with the fur and meet her daughter. Later, Judy the crime bosses give a True what they need to start new lives outside of Zootopia. But while Nicky are ready to take that deal, Judd is not ready to give up and want to help Gay. Pro point him toward Nibble since he is a fan of our podcast. Judy and N contract Nibble with excited to work with 2 hero cops. She big them to be Marsh Market, which is segregated from Zootopia and is where replicas stay alongside Cashier like Brave Beaver, and the dolphin's neighbor guide him to Best Lake named Hosini, who tells Judy and Nick that the journal metal cover is legible only to snack. Just tell the heroes how the Lennoxes expanded our child remain displacing many reptiles from their home and not are planning to do the same by expanding their terror track. Hogb and her officers crash the place, forcing everyone to run. Guess Nick and Abel on a board so they can escape. Gary Kopp pops up and take the journal with him. Nick and the jury is given to John and go through the Red Line, a water tunnel that is accessible to reptile but is vital to regular mammal. The 2 make it for Nick saves Judy before she drowned by going out through an emergency exit. Nick tried to convince the jury to Avon mission, but she refuses. This part of Ishi break hiker and fight out a flower scene on the journal is at the top of the high mountain. Nick elegantly joins Judy as they make climb. They argue about a car recorder. Nick and Judy reach the top of Min, and it's a house over a cliff. Unfortunately, Hogwart and her officers know where they are. Judy finds several newspapers regarding a Bensislingy and Gary's Essential that officers see reach the house with her to break apart and fall judged. Gary and Papa duty to Joe, where the Gary uses the flame of campfire to help them this special to journal. It is revealed that Zootopia was founded by Gary's great-grandmother and Jay all along. She wanted everyone to Zootopia into existence. So it was he who came up with the idea of the V'ger walls and worked with the Avonir to secure it, for he got took and got it for himself, going as far as to kill his own twice close mate and free emergency for it, he for his own patent, and drove the reptile out of the home after expending the turn drone. But real patent was not destroyed like the thought, and is hidden somewhere in Ajon's old home. Power tells Judy he want to help her take his family Dawn, Judy Garris, and drag down the location of File Divine, which is hidden within the desert weather. They have to go to a burning mammal festival to get to it. Awaiting the cops as well to Nikas, back in the station to help him track Judy Dawn, is ordered by Milan to take Judy out, but she cannot bring himself to do it. That will accidentally fire, but Flash drives him in time to save Judy. Everybody but Nick make it through the water well. Judd is able to find a control room to turn the power back in the reptile, which helped them find a light host that will guide them towards home. Unfortunately, Baba revealed his drag by injecting Jody with Snake Wincham and leaving Gary out in the cold, as he only gets this far so that he can find a real patent destroyed and finally earn his family's approval. Pard goes out to inject Neville as well. By Nick and make his way in to try and find Judy. Gaddy calls over to Judy and try to keep her warm. Nick and Power fight over the entire Vanium pan that he's holding over an icy cliff. But deadly officers break out into building and assume that Gary is trying to kill Judy that they try to break off, but Nick managed to kick the vent to Gary so he can revive Judy. She wakes up and turns to Impel goes Vonda with a cliff. Gary goes to save neighbors, while Nick and Judy expresses their platonic love for one another and how they view her as the most important people in their lives. Papa stopped to see his family and tell them that's going to destroy the patent. The heroes catch up to them when Nick and Judy pursuing Power, while neighbors and Gary take on the glances with dancers who knows how evil the family he's having. Really R decided to utilize his fighting skill to knock out Catrick and Kitty before delivering a sweet cake to Mill Joan. Nibbles and Gary catch up and knock out as well. The heroes injury repan, a lighty way to Engine's home within a music box. Gary finds his own original. Power makes one last attempt to destroy it. After going crazy but Hog Botchum knock him out now, she dead throat. The X's arrested for repair and revealed. The expansion is canneled, allowing the finally to go back home. The credit fishes collected at another guest's concert where it is shown Belle the I love you message on the car pan while her annoying neighbors and continue after she leaves. Jay hopes and Wild have become a police officer George in After Belvedere's game, but mess up during one of their cases causes Steve Bogo to lose faith in them has appeared. Julie gets snailed to follow her owner case involving Gry, who have not been seen in the zoo for over a century. They discover a conspiracy involving the Vert family whose Centurious Abancies, lying fawn Zootopia, along with a shake snake family. The truth is that Gary's great-grandmother's Ajahn was the real founder of Zootopia, as the patent the way was, that allowed different ecosystem in the city to coexist. But Evans told a patent and then killed his housemate to fem and drive a reptile out of Zootopia, while he lenses expending the turn. The real patient is in Agent's old home by somewhere in the snow. Judy, Gary, and Power Art find a lighthouse that will lead him to be Reptile having an Agent's home. But Power betrays Judy and reveal he only wanted to find the patent to destroy it and earn his family acceptance. He inject Yodi with snack, venom, but Nick fight him and takes them anti-value, and so he and Gary can save Jodium. The hero cases stay robot. To rep the animated sequel, notice this animation as grossing movie in history with $1.46 million at the global box office. It beat a previous record Frozen show, which made $145 million in 2019. Zootop has made $33 million domestically and a whopping $113 million overseas. Sold weekend box office in S week of release, adding $87.9 million to its already impressive jelly. The film hit the coded $1 billion in milestone after just 17 days of release, and it was the first PG-rated movie in history to do so. It's been a particularly huge success in China, where many Hollywood movies have faded in recent years as just a Chinese box office. Zootopia 2 has already zoned past $500 million, the highest total for a U.S. movie by far. The only films coming close is Disney's fellow recent release Avatar, Fire and Dash, while is nearing $100 million after it premiered on December 19th. Including Zootopia 2, only 2 movies have crossed $1 million globally this year. Disney Live Action and S Remake, which has been $1.3 million. A remake which has the China's animated Zack, which stand as the year's biggest movie, with more than $2.22 million, saying Ginnifer Goodwin as a rebel Judy Hopes, and Justin's Batman as a Clever of Fox. Nick will re-eiters as Beauty Cop in a sequel to the Disney's original 2016 H2 Friends, must discover a repetitarian mystery that Titan to Turn the Animal have. Zoo has to set box office for Disney. The actual Century sequel movie has scored $1.46 million at the global box office since its late November release, becoming Disney's highest-grossing anime film in history. Zootopia 2 beats a record previously held by Frozen, $145 million at the global box office in 2019. Zootopia 2 crossed the $1 billion mark in early December, just 17 days following its initial release. We saw the film rack up net $86 million globally and internationally. Everyone at this animation put your heart, soul, and passion into this room to tell a story full of joy, imagination, and incredible thoughtfulness. While this is the animation studio, Chief Creative Officer Jay side of Zootopia 2, hitting the $1 billion mark, filing its release on November 25th over gaming weekend. And Zootopia Joke scored an impressive 5-day global opening weekend, $556 million, breaking the record for the largest extending opening weekend ever for the animated film that was previously set by the Super Mario Bros. Movie, with $778 million in the U.S. and Canada. So to earn $156 million over it. 5-day launch taken second place on the all-time Thanksgiving weekend chart to $225 million debut of this year's Mono, while in China to RPSOR, and came for the highest single day total over for a Hollywood film, for any film with $104 million on Saturday by its first weekend just after Christmas, to chilly up $20 million in the U.S., bringing its domestic total to $32.21 million. Violet Bomb in Asia Broad movie to $1 billion for Rabbits and Foxes and Snack. Disney's animal-packed animated sequel has earned us a $1.13 billion globally. Rabbits and Foxes and Snack. Oh. My Zootopia 2 is officially the highest-grossing Hollywood release of the year. Disney's animal-packed animated sequel has earned a saging $1.13 million globally after 20 days of release, overtaking the Hall of Disney's live action. Lilo wants this remake with Andy Disney's Joy Epic Avatar file and Dash Golden 4025 crown, considering his predecessors were $2 billion grossing sensation. However, there are 3 club opens on December. $199 will likely earn the majority of its money in the following calendar year. On Friday, Zootopia Cho surpassed the $1 billion mark after 17 days in theater weekend. Zootopia cheeing $131 million from 52 in it outing, boosting his overseas $7 million. It soon become only the second animated movie in history to cross $1 billion at the international box office, falling inside audio. The follow-up film has been a particularly massive in China, with $5.2 million and counting, ranking behind only 2019 Avenger, and gained $63.32 million as the largest MP list in the country. Those sales are notable because Chinese have not been rejected to be Hollywood fair in the air. Another DC film that James J. broke, directed Ella MCK Symmetry, wrong kind of record for the studio, over the weekend, as a political dramatization food brand, of course. But the PG movie was also rejected in North America, with $2.1 million to rank as the lowest start in a modern time for Disney. Globally, La Mica has grossed a Part 3, $2.4 million against the $35 million budget, with weak reviews and poor audiences score. The film is unlikely to rebound the coming weekly fire, and Dash is expected to end the studio year on a night-run Monday. From Disney's Auto wound up being an even bigger animal over the Thanksgiving sage than imagined. We hear this morning that the 5-day has sold $18 million after a better-than-expected Sunday, $104 million, 32% of the second week. Or Thanksgiving, which was $100 million, as we mentioned. That's a similar preferable holder menu her last year between S and Sanjay Zutto's updated is an $8 million globally, updated is $559 million. As it just the bridge of toes, nature of the movie going and how prime are Thanksgiving, and yet holiday are at con of movie that are on the RQ no set. Thanksgiving conceivably could be done from this year's industry, estimated to $99 million for all movies over 5 days. Disney Animation was on original topics next year in Hack, and those type of movies always are hard to launch unless it's some sort of appearances. Genie, Square and Frozen reportedly follows a teenage Ball and his mom, who discover his talent in her magic. They are transported into a world where magic can run free. Also opening on day November 256 is Comedy, franchise for prequel for Love, which is rework would be normally for comedies, in a post-called box office era. Leading into Thanksgiving will be the Lens prequel, The Hunger Gap, Sunrises, on the Raping Z builds, on the social commentary of the first to tell a new story about the waste captor on Caner, Communicate Cities. For their own G, the film brings Durian Panic and Unlikely Joe, who he know find themselves at the center of a man hunt for a snack loaves in the city. Along the way, they discover where Reptile were orized from the city in the first place, and how the conspiracy that set it off has only continued so faster. This sets out the film's emotional and satisfying climatic, which brings another layer of commentary. First clear political allegories at the center of Zootopia 2 is a hunt for the patent paper that proves that a snake was responsible for section of Zootopia's water management systeming and underlying conspiracy about entire city within world of Zootopia Aeon's Lard as a legendary inventor. Many citizens believe he was the one responsible for the construction of the walls that manage and maintain various temperature in the different district, which allow for all sort of spaces to live together. However, the design was actually developed by Gary. The Snag great-grandmother's Agent Azer took credit for the idea, tried to destroy the original pant, and then kill his zero tri-inch frame, ancient spelled into overdripile, leading to their district being shut down and absorbed into the lens. Control town most of the reptile fly, to one into hiding. This gives Zootopia 2 several neo-political and undercurrent building out the theme about the prejudice in the first room. Zootopia 2 forces the cast of Recon with a complicity in a life told by the Lenslam family and even chained for generation. It's also a parallel for native tribe force of their land to make a way for American expansion. Gary's central mission in the film is to find their patent, which he couldn't be used to prove his family is innocent and that are not a threat with help from like Newty. He's able to accomplish this hair bringing down the lens, in turn opening the city back of the rib. Article of the Ark is a Robert lens. Initially presented as a well-meaning word, but clumsy Robert seemed to be the only member of the family willing to expose his road. He helps Gary escape from Dimension when he planned to steal Enzel's daddy and eventually have Judd as well. However, is all affront to that Robert can find and destroy the patent along the way. He leaves Gary to die in the court and poisons Duty, intending to frame a snack just like his ancestor. What makes this rift surprising is that Power is not a villain to be a gold-calculating villain. Like the first film's Belle, Weather is apologetic when he attacks Jode, explaining that this is his way to prove his wireless family that generally does belong with him. Power grows more unstable as the climates continue, but even then he seemed to be slowly focused on his effort to be accepted. Perce's workabout has a direct file to Jody, and as part of this film's thematic troll line, underestimated irony and is seemingly well-meaning. Power and Jody quickly seem to bond. Her Judy want to make the world a better place. Power just want to be accepted into the corrupt system around him. Power is a film's primary example of someone who accepts a broken system for their own sake. While Bart may have sympathetic will and is understandable, none of his excuses, his sectional or simplicity in his family, plan to continue a cover-up that involves murder, extortion, and culture. Poverty is a Zootopia choose most-looking political commentary. A Failson who ignored his empathy for a chance to be accepted by a family that never even liked him. He is every person who taken part in a cover-up. Creatures for sure, heartless political scheme, all of the sake of personal happiness is a dynamic between Nick and Judy. While they have moved beyond her initial antagonist from the first film, they still naturally brace us against one another. Whoever is a do friend that made them so effective. The differences improve them. Jode inspires Nick to try and make the world a better place, while Nicky is to risk his family life so he can help save her when things get out of hand. It's notable that when own simp, they saved it there. This speaks to an underlying theme of the entire film, which highlighted how Zosha need to come together for its own sake. When they are divided, families like the Lens List are able to take control of the city, command government, and take over entire district divided. The authority carry out corrupt order and indulge in harsh prejudices. This is best represented by the Captain Hogg, bottom-man officer who takes charge of the men, and for Gary, Jode, and Nick, after Chief W.O. is put in the hospital. She dislikes Nick, and he dispresses Jode and is Kay to lead the charge after them. No, she's re-elected to use leader forces, and even help stop power in the land where it is done against herself. Forces ladyless can not only take control of but also cover up misdeed all goss of innocent life when he don't refuses to abide, such as when Mayor of Britain, one dancer defies them and have that to be appeared in their country century. Long conspiracies cumber in less than another. Just as Jody and Kick near to Beyoye, honest with one another and willing to trust in one another the whole need to come together to break free from the family that been controlling their society for years. Zootopia Joe is very much about a challenge, and importance are breaking down system that only benefiting you all, and it here is supremely competent also, but not overwhelmingly funny, digitally animated family comedy featuring like a talking animal. Is not AI, but it might as well be. This is Zootopia's 2, which is named Zootopia 2 on its home turn US, is a reference to lefty areas, such as Ortopia, too dangerous for the all-important fraud in their address. If this is the second in what he promises to be a continuing series, perhaps their dream will be cautiously held as Return to be franchise's dark road. We are back in the magical wonderland of Zootopia, in which all animal alive together, big and small prey and predators. A place, in fact, where the comedy line can't lie down, with hilarious bug backing bomb lamp and out animals providing underwriting. Voice over work for comedy. Talent such as Alan, who make vocal appearances as before. Our heroes are an old couple of cop industria, or Zoble's Police Department, idealistic young Rabbi Jody Hope. Chair Hopes and Wide must take on a parentgram by Snack, the one kind of animal not welcome in Zoopolis. This apparatus has apparently told a journal belonging to the Oretic family, who are the city's thing for a journal, that it tells the creation of the voyeur wall. There are a few laws in Zootopia, too. Of course there are, but they are allometrically generated and corruptly pro-approved. It's a kind of movie you put on iPad to keep the children quiet on a long plan or dire journey. Nothing wrong with that. Of course, the body, heart, and soul are lacking. Zlasses 2 is out of 26 number in a US 27 number in a 20 number in the UK. After 9 long years of waiting, we finally get to hope on the sequel we have all been waiting for. Zootopia Joe has finally arrived, and I can say is that this is Disney sequel was what we did. With Disney might be making a comeback video with their movie with the movie. To be a specific, everything about Zootopia 2 was amazing. The animation to reaction, the storyline, and music. Zootopia 2 was such a great movie. They even gave print a part 3 coming in the future, which I will definitely be looking forward to. I'm here to talk about my favorite things, my thought and my rating of Zootopia. Spoiler alert. Spoiler for Zootopia. Follow from start to finish. Zootopia managed to have a great story, just like Part 1 to get you interested in the movie. Zoo did not just continue to focus on the discriminations against certain spaces for animal, but I also added more introducing the history of Zootopia overall, how it come to be, how Snake will wrongly accuses of being, then just villain, and however basically exiled from Zootopia. By doing this, it adds more meaning to the whole story of Zootopia within board movies and highlighting important message about making sin for the better for everyone, along with not shooting, judging, and discriminating against groups just because of their background. In the beginning, you might think they are giving the Ask Some Share story. So of the first movie, you will see that it has many similarities from the first one, but is a whole different story that makes sense and in a perfect way to follow up and add it on to Part 1. The main characters, Yodi and Nick, definitely had lots of character growth within his movie due to the fact that you actually get to see how their partnership going. They are ups and down on through their relationship. They learn to understand one another and to actually share with each other if they are feeling a certain way. They learn to use their differences to make a better team, along with understanding what they are feeling, because they made it very clear that they are more than just partner. They are really good friends, and they should not be afraid to listen to each other when it comes to under friendship and working together as a team. Julie and I don't really just grow as character based on their relationship. The 2 new characters that are added to the movie. Neighbor may come out as annoying to many, but she truly is not a bad character at all. She can be very smart in certain situation when it is needed most, and it truly does care to help out her friends, new friends. If it doesn't Pharrell, there would have been lots of time where Nick and Jode would not have been able to get very far with this case, not to mention she literally saved everyone bad in so many situations. Gary is one of my personal new favorite actor just because of how lovable and adorable he is. He is a very brave to fight not only for his family but for his whole species, since they have all been forgotten due to his grandmother being accused for a crime that she did not commit. Now, the villains of the story were pretty much introduced within the first 30 minutes of the movie. It was his family called Les's a lead friend from Gary's grandmother of a crime that she did not commit. So they go take credit for basically being the founders of Zootopia. This family was insane and definitely was very dangerous. They would serve at nothing to make sure that he keep their secret so that a family can stay successful, no matter that it takes when it would mean framing other innocent people or even trying to hurt or kill them. Robert is another new character in the movie, and he was basically that villain storyline. Robert is a part of the Lensley, and it was clear from the beginning that he was a disappointment in a family, and he felt like he did not return. He pretend he against his family and team up with Gary to help find the truth behind the history of Zootopia. Long story short, when he finally gets all of the answer, he paralyzes Jody and try to pretty much kill everyone who is trying to find a truth about Zootopia. His reason for doing all of his is to help his family so that they will finally be proud of him and he can finally feel like he belonged in a family. Or it was kind of obvious from the start that he was going to be a villain. It makes sense why Disney made his choices, because he does seem to be goofy and want to be loved. But he's honestly crazy and obsessed with getting approval and love from his family, which make it understandable why he did all of this. Last but not least, there is no Zed to be a movie without Shakira being involved. Shakira come back to reprises her character, and she was just amazing. As a Latina woman myself, I love that I go to see Shakira come back and wear this iconic Latina character. Argue was not in the movie for that long. I love the part that she had were amazing and glamorous, because Gazelle definitely show that his own girl for sure. She was loving and talented and showed that she got her girls back no matter what. Of course, the best part of GE was the end credit of the movie, because how can you not even a Zootopia movie without an end credit for Gels having an iconic performances? The new song was such an amazing touch in the movie. I love the song so much that just because it fits well, the movie story and it catches go, as was such as amazing movie. It adds so much more to be host-inspired one and is just one Disney's best sequel movie that has come out in such long time. I would definitely rate this movie art, and when you watch this movie, you definitely are not going to expect what is going to happen. And you should get everything that you think is going to happen out of your head, because it's not going to happen. It will be better than what you think. Trust and believe that. One more tip about a movie. Before you watch, make sure you watch your whole. Encourage to get a snake back or what you can expect for a future zoo, because nowadays every movie will be getting many sequel, even if they are not asked for. However, because of no great Zootopia 2 is, and how much everyone is loving the movie, I expect them hope to get a Zootopia tree in the future, because I truly enjoyed. I love this movie and hope this become more successful with this sequel and live action that are coming out. I hope many people will start to enjoy the sequel and live action more. Listen to Kids Sam to develop Zootopia 2, the long-awaited sequel to its billion-dollar animated beauty action. Thankfully, the return of our beloved mismatched animal hero, our achieving rabbit police officer. Judy Hobson reformed Foxconn, gone arty snake Dwa was well picking up Sun soon after the event of the first film. The old couple, at the hearted first movie success, are quickly thrust into a new conspiracy. This new case pieced Jody in Gia, with four brothers implication for the cities of Zootopia and a metropolis where animal coexists mostly in harmony. Thanks to Video World, the rivers are separate, the city into climate-controlled districts to each spaces. One average trickiest part of any animated film is making it work for two distinct audiences. The kids who are the primary target demographic. Any parents who are faking over a cold heart, cash to girls. Go see in this thread, perhaps from some Disney-branded job earlier, what you are added. This is remarkably good at this balance, that story. Franchise in particular, in Rifle, with moment that fly over gears. Head, but gave elder viewer a hearty chuckle, Zubian master. In this S will be blame with the visually references, and quickly aside that met it must watch for ages. And Zia hits are the Royan creative have showed his consistency. Jash, who wrote the original, Will Johnson's return to open the sequel and also step into the directors alongside Hart's co-director of the 2017-16 film, Mushian Hart's involvement in this world from his genesis. It's his strongest, his ultimate product of 6 story ideas. Of a Disney animation steers, and Bush was brought in early to help her develop it. Dialogue is really fast and slapstick for kids. Aside from adult and fun, to remix from place name, like Goji, and more Holland Journal to character car. Now Disney sexed for a film, authentic and generally funny, and like show how marketing snurter the emotional core of the films remain steady as well. Jody and Inin feel like instantly recognizable people who really know, and their R's continuing, in way that feeling greater than a force jury's unwavering. Drive to prove himself, and success remain her code threat. Sometime overly sunny, sometimes a bit by regretting, but always grounded by Ginny for good wins. Ernie has performed his jazzes. Batman was Jod's perfect contribution point. Once again, would win any. Batman Chemistry was a heartbreak first movie. And so, to double down on it, the film develops Jode and Nick's part, with Gear stopping just trying it, explicitly romantic. The need of the surface-level Mystery Eater examined whether two fundamentally different animals can truly be part in the police sense, of course, but also maybe something more. There is even subplot about Nick and Judy being forced into partner therapy as they are struggling to find a stride in the after saving the city from the nefarious assistant mayor Biter in the first movie. Jay is particular. He singularly focuses on proving her might, and she and Nick are more than one-hit wonder when it comes to crime solving. Nick, for his part, is less worried about establishing his marriage as a city's first Fox police officer and more content to tell Jesus that, in need of, on how to be better partner cuts into term, he would be ready spending wing out any dreaming. Perhaps one criticism in the handling of Nick and Jury's relationship is more movies' seemingly unwillingness to commit to fully romantic arc for him, that in the line between the friends and couple still working the sequel, but they try to imagine us flying in this strange middle ground for many more movies, and trust the whole sequel will be coming. Hell, one of the first scenes states that Nick and Judy are out with their baby in Raji. Another officer undercover with them as a baby when draft ordered to investigate a potential smuggling operation in the IC incident that kicks off the film Real Mystery, was to be also concentrated on a twistful conspiracy that Burr, the seemingly mill-manner assistant mayor, was behind some struggling predator to cause them to revert to their animal instinct. The Mysterian Zootopia Joe is a bite more converter and has water reading raised in Zootopia after an attack on a turtle year before, and Event like the first movie, Zootopia, Joe is a clear racial allegory, telling a story about tension of discrimination based on otherness. Is it telling little heavy-handed at moment? Yeah, sure. But it's also mostly work, ignoring the risk, as allegedly managers to be emotionally reasoned and heartwarming. Much of their resources, Gary the Snack, the reptilian no-comer, had heard the film's mystery. From the moment Gary appears once again, his sweet, Robbie little faces demand emotional attachment to an excellent vocal performances enhancement at Gary's introduction and arc are probably the best part of the new film. He stand out as a distinct character, and he is born with the Jody altercated friend from her relationship. Vic is a highlight of the story as a third member in the Jew turn. He is a fact. Similarly, for famously named Neville, Conspiracy is Believer with a Pro is another excellent addition to the Nikirio novel, is a source of some of the movie's funniest moment, particularly when she join into a help, Solomon says, and bring Neck and Duty to hard contact in a marsh market. Joy delivery is perfectly celebrated to the character Zoni S. Energy, the various family headed by Micken, over his kicks. Gadrick and Old Cat, all powered, are the weakest of the new character. This is largely because JR undertoned Dawn and added a note, possibly a side effect of the narrative being overstaffed. Milton motivation, or fusier than Bweather and Chinese ladship criminal, Mr. was by far the more enjoyable B. The movie itself seemed aware of that. Forward is worth bringing Slay's villas back for a few key sons that are quite fun, complete with one excellent silence of the lambs while Nick is briefly in the slumber. Speaking of returns, Belvedere is a far from the one CG OG character to cameo in the sequel. Stand out like Mr. We got crime, Boss Arik figure from The Godfather, The Helpless Jun, Loving Zootopia, P. Officer Benjamin, and most importantly, Flesh Slot Mode, the slow-moving yet quick, dreaming dirty slot who come in a clash during a climatic moment, all make up appearances that enhance that, but don't distract from the main storyline to a sequel. Disney Room Zootopia was released on November 26, 2025. The Hindi version of the same was released 2 days later. The sequel brought back the favorite Jody of Judy, and Nick, who are no coxswain, are pushed into an intense investigation during the same. The D faces multiple challenges. They don't know what happened at the end of Zootopia, and will Jay be a char part of this Disney film? The film begins with a Jody Hopes and Naked World returning as partners at the Zootopia Police Department. Soon they are approaching to a smuggling case and a missing climate journal. However, Judius figures out is much more than small smuggling case to uncover some truth. Judy and attend a Zootopia gala. When Judy and Nicola, in the hope to uncover truth, they meet her mysterious bridge wiper who grabs Eternal Swallow It and escape. This led to an intense saves across the street of City. Later to find out Piper is G, the snack who reveals that his family was thrown out of Zootopia. History. Even his great-grandmother had invented the color system. Hearing this, Judy and Nick decided to clear his family name during the attempt to help Gary the Snack. Judy and Nick meet a young Linux named Robert, and who joins them to help them in their mission to solve intense chaos. Together they reach the Calamity Wall where the final truth is hidden. But Judy faces her big-ass bedroll as Power Syllab and Chonum, French, and Child did a bit observated having her in a danger just when viewer are left shocked and concerned for Judy and Gary. The hero Nick reaches the place just in time, and when he kisses the anti-Vendon, Slipping away, he grabs it and thrown running toward Gary in the hope that he would not betray him. When Gary gets sent to Venom, he kills Jod and saved her. After that, the two together capture poverty, remaining mysterious. Towards the end of this Disney film, Jod and Nick showed evidence to the government. The adventure of Reseed World isn't honored, and the entire Linux family is found guilty. Jod and Nick are also welcomed back to Zootopia with respect after multiple execution through order investigation. At last, Judy and Nick come even more closer than before, and their bond deep partner and potential in the post. Judy is seen listening twice regarding sent by Nick saying, "Love your partner, it's a beautiful scene," which shows a strong bond between the two, as Judy's busy blessing and even thought it might seem as nothing. It's the franchise. The main reasons behind this is that in body films, the maker have paid extra attention to detail every small's hand as something important in the future. So there are chances to be a tree in which the feeder might play an important role. In 2016, everyone learned about Vossel is, if you don't already know, and your daddy DMV is in fact suffered by a slot. Zootopia was an instant hit by Orices of all ages. The fact that it was also one of the best bird cop movie ever aside and at her forming animal and physical humor, while the grown-up and I had a loss, BL adult jokes. And Animal Working Day, job. Here we grew up watching Disney's classic like Robin Hood, so this was right up over Elliot. The famous message was also straightforwarded and straightly laid out. Bases are bad, so stop again judging a bunny by her short stature. We all wanted more adventure with this weird bunch of character and Disney lesson. Zubo is one of their example where the follow-up to the first movie. If you were thinking of great Disney sequel, then yes, this is one. Is Object R Breaks the Internet, that is Q's Donor and Frozen. Joe, great story. Animation, the character I never want to use, Sid and Sing. I would rather be watching on the original. Juco wrote this film's play, is writing the script as well. So, director with Baron Hart gives you once, and take courtesies on a wild ride through new and familiar ecosystem as Y and Race, to figure out with Net as one charming and exciting Zootopia with plenty of memorable moment and quote. Okay, Bob, the film picks up shortly after the event of the first movie. Judy Ho and Nick Busson's Batman are officially partnered on the Zootopia. Things have not been going upper smoothly as the two bird heads on how best to handle their guesses. After messing up another bus, Chief Bogo sent them to group therapy run by Floyum. But Jod's already owned our next big thing, Gary, the snack and secret of the missing reptile of Zootopia. When she began to uncover the mystery, Martin frames Yodi an egg for a trough, forcing them to go and learn to escape that, like the original, is visual fare. From the rich environment to the Wiesel resident, everything is colorful. New lighting technique are utilized that really make the new taros make way to throw them. Marsh Market is populated with the mammals who enjoy water, but they are all country fried. I don't know, but I also adore it. Naturally, it also the home of the only reptile establishment left on Zootopia. From the marsh to the tundra and everywhere is between the world of Zootopia is just gorgeous. I kind of wish they would make any show. And this time, spam. I mean, much ecosystem aside, from looking stunning, Zootopia 2 has all the Disney's Easter egg, no show others of minimal puns you could ask for. My kid and I are the ones cracking up at little thing like Shop Sign or Wasteland's latest knockoff movie for sale. I was not sure how the Gru new characters would fit into the existing Manicure with so many agony and lovable supporting cast. In the first one was a room for everyone has turned out. There's plenty of space. And not only that, but are about to become favor too. Helping Jod and Nick in North Neighbors Maples, A Conspiracy. The terrorist Warren runs her own YouTube channel. She absolutely believed there is a snack among them. And she does not mean Gary. Gwen is also lovable, as ever making a child whom many are afraid of. This right at all. I give up in the country so thoughtful, and someone you would want as your best friend is unshakable fate and duty. Even when she died, herself is enough to make you tear up. Patrick White, bronze-bred winter dancer, a movie star turn-on M, is hilarious and just awesome. Chronic has returned, but this time he come with actual team music and slightly more brain. Kessel, Goodwin, and Batman are still gorge. How their relationship continue to evolve is one of the reasons why this movie works so well. Not only are they learning about each other themselves as well, the momenter have to face their own fear and admit what they are actually afraid of is a learning lesson for everyone watching. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a heart moment that is likely to have many adult in your relating to one or both of them. And yes, you might also feel a little called out by the dialogue. Why, yes, I do use humor to deflate brand. They are the beating heart of this franchise and team. At this news note, I am all of Zootopia 3, because this can't be the last we see of these two. As mentioned, Zootopia was about not judging a book, but it's a cover to 2 goes a step beyond that explore, and how can lead to pitting us against one another instead of celebrating what make us different, and how our various trend can elevate our shared community. Racism and prejudice are once again discussed in the film, with a healthy dose of generation tone is as well. In this case, Dennick's family will stop at nothing to maintain the status quo and promote the ill will one group might fear toward another, all in service's ultimate goal of consolidating power. There is also the pressure Judd as a trailblazer to be perfect, while Nick struggled to still be seen as something more than a teeing box. These may seem like lofty topic for a kids movie, but the first one tackled a lot of these as well. The simple kid, get friendly messaging, open the door for younger children to ask important question. Plus, at the end of Jay learning or being reminded of EM and kindness is never a bing. Zootopia is a perfect sequel with already beloved animalic charm. Humor and wooden thrill has original. The new and returning cast are standing in their role, whether they are Lord of the King term or are just relegated to post-kiss. It's staying for their animation is beautiful and weird honestly. Zootopia has a fair belief that things can change if enough people lead. With compassion and fear, it might seem a little in the world. We like him. But I like to think these character creators are on something. And maybe we can all try to live more like Jody Gary and her friends. So of course I brought my children with me to see what he thought. Zubia Joe picks up pretty much where the 2016 original left off with the ambitious bunny from the stake, Judy Hopes, and is a three-wise corn fox basking in a success of recreating. First major case on the blue lookout for the next one when the symbol represents are the first snack in this go that you cross-part with a returning favorite, and are the host of new member as the, and you will never believe this, uncover more gender bargain for now reviewing watcher of Censor. Be kids movies of Tricky. On the one hand, I have heard of Kit Hat, and I like to wear it. But on the other hand, it's easy to say it's a cute movie on the surface. Here's a bunch of cartoon animals solving crime and making jokes and learning to love and appreciate each other. But looking beyond this illness is a steady unbearable of social criticism that deserve to be taken seriously. And that is why I was determined to bring my gears with me to repress the greening to say they could fail in, whenever my film's critic had got a little too tired. For example, I would say the low of the film is gorgeous. The animation style is the same colorful palette as the first Zootopia, but new train and more emission lightning gave the animator a chance to reel of technological development. Meanwhile, my daughter, age 11, said my favorite Disney films, The Joe as sequel to his 2016 box office. Joette is not exactly an adult political drama. The techs certainly feel the Grimm members of Zootopia's ally plan to expand their terra by displacing certain indigenous animal from an area they want to claim for themselves, and they will do so without pushback by conversing the rest of the population, and their uprooted neighbors are doing justice, and it might victim of this injustice to reclaim their homeland and their dignity will be deemed a violent attack. In turn, anyone who sides with his glasses will be labeled a criminal enabler, a disloyal bar. Meanwhile, tensions flare in law enforcement as patron Nick Wiltshire and Judy Hope, advised by Johnson's Batman, and Ginnifer Goodwin, who is in the previous shared Zootopia, from a power-hungry wolfen she's clotting to prove their compatibility of their recklessness in hard water with Gome. Personalities to be too despaired from Jem to make a dream. And Judy values justice over watching, while Nick's survivals and comforts untrod because of his fondness for children, not to have a sense of dutiful conviction that push and pull this a trend out of their bond has visited previously unseen area of Zootopia, including a visit to the marsh market where exiles live. These adventures occur as they search for Gary's the snatch neck of any pack strap wiper and power the socially conscious son of a family. They are on a quest to find evidence that will clear the reputation of reptile in Zootopia. Other forms have been forced to exist on the outskirt for decades. Writer Jared Bush, who also co-director with Bon Hart, returned from the first Autotopia, less into Aquan's personal history, as an immigrant whose family had to escape return to Rangers. Gary are a well-known survivor with a noble soul. Leave it to a Disney to make a giant snake look thisly adorable, and to plan to match that energy with his warm vocal performances on top of the new character. Jordan Nick's emotional arc is adorned with a cameo from the favorite minor player for the original Flash. The Lord Mr. Figure, the loaded narrative robes a picture of more term, with Garium and power art. Even if Bush find plot effective to fish the sporting member like his predecessor Zuru, impress visually, especially given the breadth of characters and environment it's immersed. The audio sees him in the faces of new character like the initial Spart and Friendly Guy. One can best appreciate a low level of expressiveness that is this animator working at the highest level of free research technique can achieve after several Hop and Mona franchise. So you can check the title as this is most effective animated sequel yet in most regard. In the formula that propelled the first one to hate status, remain unsimilar on Alan Mask type, disparagingly for approval that all the money in that world can't buy, and yet arrives as an expansion with a punchier, more focused approach to its nature ideas. The more one read into the movie's timeline, the more obvious it become. That is, this concerns between the artists making an animated future such as this one and the company's leadership, which continue to push artificial intelligence and gap later to his home beyond working. Those people might certainly find Zootopia to walk in. Who know, maybe in the next, since all men, Judy and Nick will question their role in the prepostating the police state in our bizarre Why That Zootopia franchise serves as a vehicle for thought-provoking subject diced by way of colorful animal. ZW2 arrives in theater with that, or a series the result for sequel that carry on enormous responsibility, not only to continue one of the most beloved animated film of the law, but also to explain the narrative that resonated within Discley because of its balance of lightness humor, emotional and social commentary, directed once again by Baron Hart and Jay Boss, and bringing back Ginnifer Goodwin as Judy Hope and Jason Batman as Mike W. The film not only recaptures the duo's chemistry but amplifies, is showing that both characters have grown matured and found new challenges that made them even more compelling from the very first moment. It's clear that Huberton Bush had no animation is stunning, and the directors seem to have reached the Judy's unique in the plot and truly tears both of them as individuals and his partner. Jody faces a weight of carrying enormous expedition while dealing with the flow. She tried to hide even from herself. NyQuil player, brilliant by Justin's. Batman remained a main source of humor and scarism, but this time revealed emotional layer that for him only hinted at the dynamic is a backbone of the movie. The humor, meanwhile, is even sharper. Jokes about the bureaucracy's coexistence and social stereotype still work wonderfully well, but no, they come combined by even more sophisticated commentary. The film managed to speak directly to adult without losing the childlike sessions that keep kids laughing from beginning to end. And, of course, is responsible for some of the best comedic beards, especially in Sarism, clashes with Just after frustrated attempt to say compose. They said they are classic dynamic but sharpened by the year of partnership, and VRO and a few know this is L's on their chemistry, allowing you to drive some of the most emotional and some of the funniest scene, the city of Zootopia, once again function almost as a character. The way the narrative movie this showcases the near-infinite creativity of directors and art. There are sequences that are true, visual, spectral frantic chances, the moment of the question scene of pure lightness, where Judy and Nick share small, victorious, and intimate conversation. All of this work thanks to the film technical and artistic experience, but also because the secret no exactly long passes deep conversation moments where the camera seemed to slow down to bloody honestly is observed very emotionally little. The film tit act is a kind of fin that shows her a stand so far above of any other animated release of 2025 is GAN without being excessive emotional, without being manipulative and visually stunning. It's a climax that can consumptive dream and leave that without the forcing feeling of affirming witness some change. When the story of finally conclude, the emotional impact of profound you feeling like you have watched the film that respect your intelligence, and that's what Zootopia family firmly establishes itself as the best animated film of the year, because it delivers everything. This delivers humor, emotional, visual, spectral, depth, relevance, and heart. It's a complete film. Bond is crafted with almost artisan care in every staff, and Zupo confidently claim his place as one of Disney's animation greatest achievement of 21st century is brilliant, captivating, emotionally authentic, and above all, a work that deserves to be remembered alongside the studio's best sequel. A great film reaffirming the trend of animation as a storytelling medium that she's of any years, and making it clear that Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde still have an enormous legacy ahead of them. A truly special sequel has changed in the 2 years since I wrote a piece here as agreeing that with the Hollywood studio to release more family film prior to last weekend when we saw it for good. It had been months since there had been some time. We really want to choose for soon again. In fact, the last we want to see in theater was a sing-along version of Netflix's Cop of Demon Hunter. You know, things are getting multiplexes for families as a movie. Loving that. I am looking out there one kid-friendly film in the theater at any given time. No mercifully they are to Wicked, and the sequel to Disney popular animator movie about a bunny and a fox who came out to solve a mystery in a world populated entirely by ducking animal. The original Zootopia is another titer in heavy rotation around a Singer house. So my younger daughter jumped at her chance to attend the sequel press screening with me. A big reason why I love going to B-Movie with my cares is because we typically spend entire trip from the theater talking about whatever we said. Sometime the conversation focuses primarily on a film, but often I arranges into topics after Zootopia too. For example, my daughter and I compare this sequel to its predecessor, but we also discuss the INRIC rating system, whether we watch our eating bug, and the meaning of the perhaps don't judge a look by its cover. 90 years is a large fours and here, but it's also the ideal space between installment in the thoughtful anime franchise. See Inside Auto. Like in 2016, Disney's will-popular Zootopia, it's a complete film. Bond is crafted with almost artisanal care in every staff, and Zupo confidently claim his place as one of Disney's animation greatest achievement of 21st century is brilliant, captivating, emotionally authentic, and above all, a work that deserves to be remembered alongside the studio's best sequel, a great film reaffirming the trend of animation as a storytelling medium that she's of any years, and making it clear that Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde still have an enormous legacy ahead of them. A truly special sequel has changed in the 2 years since I wrote a piece here as agreeing that with the Hollywood studio to release more family film prior to last weekend when we saw it for good. It had been months since there had been some time. We really want to choose for soon again. In fact, the last we want to see in theater was a sing-along version of Netflix's Cop of Demon Hunter. You know, things are getting multiplexes for families as a movie. Loving that. I am looking out there one kid-friendly film in the theater at any given time. No mercifully they are to Wicked, and the sequel to Disney popular animator movie about a bunny and a fox who came out to solve a mystery in a world populated entirely by ducking animal. The original Zootopia is another tater in heavy rotation around a Singer house. So my younger daughter jumped at her chance to attend the sequel press screening with me. A big reason why I love going to B-Movie with my cares is because we typically spend entire trip from the theater talking about whatever we said. Sometimes the conversation focuses primarily on a film, but often I arranges into topics after Zootopia 2. For example, my daughter and I compare this sequel to its predecessor. But we also discuss the INRIC rating system, whether we watch our eating bug, and the meaning of the perhaps don't judge a look by its cover. 90 years is a large force and here, but it's also the ideal space between installment in the thoughtful anime franchise. See Inside Auto, like in 2016, Disney's will-popular Zootopia. Vulnerable faces trying to get along with her that might no morally attempt to eat them. Now the Toon, or well-sci follow-up, focuses on a different kind of predator, gray and grabber today. More might spoil the mystery, and that would be a shame, as is one of the things that makes it, too, such a worthy successor. Border Films is the original extended sequel plug characters of the Earthship, sizes and speed, thus lured and back into classic China-style detective stories, populating adult clever plot and appearing kid-friendly creature. Behind the scene, another reunion is taking place, this one between Zootopia co-director Bon Hart and Jared Bush, who was promoted to Chief Creative Officer Award, Disney Animation Studio, last year, having shepherded first movie, The Two Disney's Best, not with his 4 central quadrant, and reinforces district, and it turned on many uncharted corner better than anyone. Lest one forget in this, come animals, heaven, high-tech, climate walls make it possible for polar bear and desert hippers who inhabit NC District. But such autotopian intentions don't mean that different spaces necessarily click. As non-Judies, let him demonstrate being a loner by nature who does not care where she care for too much, which make them poorly matched, compared amusingly illustrated by the parent partner in Crashes. Therapy session. Boo obligates them to attend early on where to be. A war was about these two, learning to trust one another, concerned that secure goal of mutual respect that may not sound as promising, but to whom the second play is credited, approaches Nick and Judy's dysfunctional partnership as if they were no males, still adjusting to one another, are rich recipe for constant sacral dispute. These movies are comedies first and crime film home as second, but is therein shared trial social commentary that makes the franchise so indispensable behind love and teachable moment. As for those indispensable climate wall, it's revealed that the original patent was filled by the virtual landlord, who look like they substitute out of the Succession, and West by the like of David Attention and Andy Samberg. The lighter place run after a little Povard Lens family. The like will soon go on display at an architect fundraisers and quick study. Jode, who is the only one here doing actual detective work, believes someone with is planning to steal it. She is not wrong. Staffing is the most endearing addition to carry the snack. A goofy blue pit viper with a friend's lips and super fast lasso skill, which come in handy for a creature without hand before Gary crushes the party. The gala seems as good a place as running to unleash a new Shakira song zoo performed by the pop star's glamorous Archer Go. And subsequently, he scared the bar high in a film that seldom slowed down, swapping through hard of characters of elaborate location to pull up increasingly complicated surfaces. Technologically speaking, many of these sequences simply would not have been possible 9 years ago. Packed with the cores are so rich, it will take repeat viewing to sport even half. Meanwhile, exists through the market ranks among the most complicated sequences Disney animation has ever pulled off. Sing Prince and pop cultures, not into every film difference of a DVD pirate stelling, for takes one Disney home sorrow neighborhood, providing first insight into a serious, along the way, lizard and venomous snake in a particular poses are challenges. And since a Zootopia ensemble was already fairy, rehost how to work in a fan favorite, while still having room for original. Character the Godfors like Archic. Mr. Beginback as is, Flesh and Slot, both ready to help at just the right moment. In addition to attention being mayor, there are sweet saying Montian. God the two directors supply their executed German accent and a broadcasting barrier named Neil Maps, letting the always funny fortune filmester, who says for dry wood is surpassed only by her appetite for a juicy conspiracy. With his Autotopia movie, there's a soldier many anecdote that while Nick and Judy have over-attention, life is seeming out of him, which naturally suggests an infinite number of stories might be told in Zootopia. Seemingly incompatible, Zone may have changed the franchise's message. Remains one of peaceful coexistence that challenges, as any child can tell you, applies every bit as strongly to human as there also be animal who struggle to, mightily to get along in a day's movie. Reptiles are people too, aren't they? Discriminately, you take away fish, and F are still largely absent, which gave his business franchise Zoom. To grow, it's a small word after all. But if there was any mysterious weather creative dream could be a storm, Nick and Jody have effectively put our mind to sustain more might spoil the mystery, and that would be some, as is one of the things that may act such a worthy successor, both films and its horizon, explaining sequel plug and formatic era of all ships' sizes and spirit. Thus, A Slot is back into classic Chinatown-style detective stories, populating adult-caliber plot with appealing kid-friendly creators formally, partnering unlikely heroes. Yuri Hope a Rabbit rookie aimlessly voiced by Guilford, a Nequing One artist Jason's Batman plays with Foxy Zootopia. Joe is more of a bunny or buddy movie than predecessor Chief Bogo. The Graph Club Bello in charge has practically embarrassed the idea of skipping these anything but uniformed police officer on a team dominated by Rayhorn Razorback and other alpha spaces. But take his one big mistake to land a pair on Propulolis. Behind the scene, another Rejurian is taking place, is this one between Zootopia. Co-artists by Ron Howard and George Bush, who was promoted to Chief Executive Officer of Disney Animation Studios last year, having shepherded the first movie. The two were Snow with his Forum Central Quadrant and districts in Thundertown and many Unjed Corner better than anyone. Last one, forget this. Come via Animal Heaven. High-tech climate wall make it possible for polar bear and desert hypers to inhabit. A transient distract, but such obtain intentions don't mean that different spaces necessarily click, as Nanja demonstrate being a loner by nature. He does not care where he is, secure far too much, which make them poorly match, compared amusingly lead. I partner grasses, Zoo sing devices of Jason's Batman Ginnifer Goodwin, and Kiwan is now in Twitter. This week, Durham Tomatoes. Critics think he knew animated for has B, directed by Disney's Animation Chief Creative Officer Jared Bush and Baron Hart. The official synopsis for the movie read, while Disney's Animation Studios, Roy Judy Hope, and Nike WJ find themselves on a twisting stroll of a great mystery, when Gary D. Snack arrive in the Zootopia and journey Animal Metropolis upside down. To create the case, Jody and Nick must go undercover to unexpected new part of Done, where growing partnership is tested like never before. As of the publications of this article, Zootopia 2 has earned out 93% fresh critics, score on 10 tomatoes, based on 73 review. Artist critics concerns that summary encore based on verified. Using ratings are still pending. Frank, Hollywood's reporter, is among the top greatest on Who Fresh, writing this to 2016 smash hit Oscar-winning animated film proves more than what she knocking it out of the park with his dazzling visuals, sophisticated humor, and does of genius emotional. Clarice's lovely independent also praises honoring writing in her fresh review summary directors by Ron Howard and Jared Bush. The letter, the new head of the studio, have made a sequel that not only justifies itself but arguably improve on its predecessor. Raj is the same film, but better tier Deborah of Raj is also a fan of Zosha too, writing in his fresh RT review summary, "This movie are comedies first, and crime film Home is second, but is theirs value as social commentary that made the franchise so indispensable behind a love or teachable moment as linked Morphe of the Globe." And Mail also has a fresh take on Zoe, writing on art. Now does the films feel like it's beating you over the head with its morale, but you might have the theater feeling a little better about the world we'll live in than you did when you arrived. Meanwhile, Soren Anderson of the Seal term is among the top critics on Archie, who gives the film's Trojan review. Writing Zootopia comes on Satong Chong. It seems to Bud's overweight noise, velocity, and insistence on, and frankly wind up being kind of irritating. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian is not impressed by Zootopia. The writing is in his rotten review summary on Archie, is a kind of removing you've put on the iPad to keep the children quiet on a long plan or train journey. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but it hurt and soul horror lacking. Back in 2016's I Called Zootopia out for Disney. It was coming out the same year as also well-received Mona and following up Oscar-winning hits Frozen and Big Hero 6 for the modern era of Disney's 2010 animated Rayonette that began with The Danger. Zootopia not only stood out to me as the best of the bunch, but as one of the framed animation studios, very best, having also won an Oscar and gross, over $1 billion. The recent return of Disney's putting out critical sequel to its animated films actually seemed well suited here. I was not wrong to feel this way. Zootopia 2 is another cleverly constructed animated effect, serving as a comedy, a procedural cop drama, and another look at social societal issues through the lens of animal character. Being a sequel may mean the movie is inherently less fresh and the larger scope leaves seeing in a bit less focus this time around, but is also made up by plenty of visual supplier and constantly big love picking, up almost right after the event of this film. Jody Hopes and Nal Tess are no partner in the Zootopia Police Department. However, just because they sold a big case does not mean Chief Boo is about to give Dama new high-profile assignment. Despite being warned out of St. Founder G camp, Joria uncovers a snack in the Zootopia that may be linked to an even larger conspiracy behind why Ripal have not been allowed in the city. Zootopia 2 is directed by JB and by Hart, with a gameplay credit for Bush and what he'd like about his story, let alone his satisfaction for existence. His hardy writers clearly wanted to dab into what worked about the first film, or sensibly is, not a buddy car mystery that fawned Rome, for all the jokes they could come up with concerning a city populated by all type of animal that means that rather done trying to revent the will. The natural way to extend this real universe was to come up with a new mystery and explore a different part of dystopia. As a result, we have plenty of room for a ton of hilarious gig, along with another mystery that explore how currents and abuses are linked to the prejudice. Some animals have indeed to this simple idea how don't be by God. It's interesting to think that it come out a term where it would not be controversial to be on the side of people against the commercial work had not yet become a misappropriate addressing real issue, while also being as entertaining as it was. Now, at a time when studios like Disney have called John, when it come to be tempting to have similar progressive idea featured in their film, it's actually a relief to see that Zootopia 2 is not any less aware of what success can be gained from good messaging this time around. The film addresses topics that call to mind many areas of American history that all attempted to be voice bars out of the textbook, let alone similar without drawing to ourselves. The notion that Zulu is reliant on good-for-you messaging. I will mention that I am play as the film did not. This notion is a fake of the current world status. Putting this aside, and never mind how much having socially relevant messaging has often been a part of Disney's animative effort. This cinematic choices does speak to what can be gained out of a well-thought-out or speaking to the original city of Zootopia. I actually found the adventure quite entertaining, given how much the films capitalizes on depending the lure of this world without making it feel as I am being forced to learn something. Instead, there's just enough talking place to entertain the forays by way of the detective story that unfold while also making good on their troubles. Goodwill and Batman once again nails required for him as far as a dream-up is concerned. Sure that commissary is now being stated as far as feeling out how a relationship between a Benny and a fox can go, that there is a still to say at the same time the returning presence of Elba, along with the new inclusion of Key Hugh for Famous. Aside from enter the detaining vocal performances, Zootopia is packed with this. Joke from visual gangs to one-liner to D-book should clever punch to a surprisingly large number of movie references. This is how the films work to appeal to everyone. There are so many love to be had and registered in different ways, for different ages, that's not already convinced me. I'm ready to see even more charm theories. Kids really enjoy writing them for not only constructing a plot that makes sense, but also for knowing how to incorporate so much excellent humor. Additionally, the film looks great, between the animal design and the detail that come with that. There's a lot to be appreciated about a movie attempting to maintain a sense of logic towards going down, despite how executed it all is. On top of that, the action set pieces are tremendous, working for fun ideas about how Zootopia works, combined with a sort of imagination that makes the action in film, like The Incredibles or Chakro, so awesome when attempting to be. There are numerous dresses and other large-scale moments that give the film the same sort of that come with incredible water effects in Pneumonia film, another similar blast of visual wonder. These ingredients are all here. A reliance of as a result of being bar-forward that started without a complicated secret or a series intended for Disney Plus that was crunched into a film-audience sequel always made for critical release. Having the talent of good writer and a solid vocal cast also helped make this subtly animated feature a really entertaining. Sure, there's a high level of spectral being emphasized the time around the goodwill for the first time to be dictated his approach, but that does not stop Joe from essentially being the best critically released animated Disney sequel, since Fantasia 2000's let alone a high point in recent year for the studio of Zootopia. Remains an inherently fascinating a reminder of when Disney was willing to push creatively, instead of leaning on endless sequel and squeezing dry whatever IP was within bridge. The first Sim Black Shop metaphor about affordable housing poverty and capitalism into curly choes of animal living in a city supposedly built for everyone. It was not perfect, but it was fresh, engaged with its ideas, and gave a sense-old couple to join Judy Hope and Neil that actually felt worth rooting for. Zubia Joe continues that identity, but we did noticeably less work. Instead of elevating the dynamic or expanding the world in meaningful ways, the sequel mostly recycled the formula. The animal puns are painful. A Gimel Jurin exclusively for elephant is admittedly a great bite and maybe a reason Zootopia should be consult. There is yet another case for Jodie and Night to dissolve, and there is another third actresses that the adult in the room will espy long before it happens. The little girl next to me have absolutely lost her mind to credit, where you the film is undeniable, gorgeous to look at, and voice cast is stuck, including David Sum. Chewing in J villain role will relax. The movie certainly keeps itself busy, and younger odds will be more than entertained. Still is not clear. Director Jared Bosch and Byron Hart are reaching for deeper team. Acceptance is belonging with the idea that real progress require acknowledging our differences, all flawed through the narrative. It is admirable, and it dropped more often than not, but the film never grew to feel substantial. It is pleasant, but also strangely dispossible. Despite the 9 years gap between film, the sequel picks up just a week after Nick and Judy stop the villainous mayor and become instant celebrators as the city's first Bunny Fox partnership. Unsurprisingly, the spotlight is, short-lived. They need to prove they are more than a novelty act, which pushes them into a conspiracy involving a snake marginalized by Zootopia. Socially ill are alleged to be marsh-geoch, and it wants you to feel the weight of that prejudice even if the films itself has fully committed to examining it. That snack is very warmly by the Q command. There is a glamorous card to expose the city's Santesia history and a hypocrisy of those in power. The emotional bits, including with him I already mentioned, remain surface level. Gary does next, yes, that is his actual name, want to reunite with his family and be treated like a citizen instead of a threat. The sentiment were GI Studios' political climate. The metaphor land harder than any filmmaker probably intended. But this is never going to take his commentary for and risk talking anyone uncomfortable. Nobody is really expecting Zodia to be deeply political, but the movie clearly knows this growing horror. There are even jokes about using humor as a coping mechanism for childhood trauma and how foxes will do absolutely anything except go to therapy. These moments can't add something sharper, but the film suppose back every time it gets close to saying something meaningful. At least it has more purpose than Maneko, which felt generic entirely in a boardroom to sell toys. Carrie is a worthwhile addition, colorfully animated and charming enough to give the film some emotional anchor. And let's be honest, this will not be the last time. We wanted through Zootopia. The word is big enough to justify more stories. Unlike Sir Musafa, the Loin King, which feels like a franchise expansion. No one asked for a future sequel. Keep the joke level and evolve visual. Audiences will still show up and love any animal pun, I probably will joke. Even if the magic is starting to be a gym, to be a joke through the franchise still has life in it. Even now, this chapter feels more like a reminder of what is this can do to rather than is bright, since experiencing that high and low box Office has to offer on the political drama MCK with the $2.1 million in domestic debut suffering one of the worst opening in the modern term of Disney. To be fair, LMC costs $35 million to produce, which is pay less than Disney Danger to spend on it the releases. Most are Schutz movies, including franchises from Marvel and Avatar, as well as family-friendly sensation. Like Inside Ocho and Lilo, this typically carry budget about $200 million. Autumn is not in danger of turning us profit for Disney. NPJ-13, misfire probably. Won't cast head, roll either. A Lamb Return and directed by the same person, co-creator, and as good as it gets, filmmakers Jam Cellbroke landed behind. Already, how projections of $4 million, it's not exactly a mysterious as to why ticket sales missed the mark. LMC is the kind of made-budget film that studios hardly make every moment for because audiences don't show up to deceit them. And this one, a comedic drama about a young politician who unexpectedly become her status grower, was wrongly projected. By critic, 24%, Rotten Tomatoes average, and B negative grade. On CMA score, exist. Poll LK continue, a miserable box office run. Five Brooks of 2004, Spankles $80 million budget and $212 million. How do you know $48 million against a $120 million budget? Why do Oscars winner Keon is a cultural style with Disney's in 20 centuries? James L. Rogue's defined character storyline telling in the 80s and 90s with the strong setting of award-winning drama, says analyst David Cross of Franchise. Entertainment Research Today. You can find material like this one on televisions and even on social media where benefit from attend. 2. After quoting a seeding into the top spot versus and Blumhouse Horror is sequel. 5 Nights as Friday to return to find place with $26 million in his third weekend, 39% decline from his prior outing. The family-friendly adventure has grossed $259 million domestically at $18 million to date to stand as just second Hollywood release. This year to cross the foyer $1 million mark. 5. Nights at Freddy's Dome Slate should be second place with $1.5 million, a mutual 70%. Dropped from a scary good for $34 million tribute. That's rough, but not as bad as the original 5 Nights as Fridays, which calculated by the 76% in a second weekend while playing simultaneously on streaming. Still, 5 Nights at Friday store cost just $36 million and registered as an undistributed win for Blumhouse, having already grossed $25,173 million globally. After 2 weeks in Iterator wicket, For Good landed number 3 with the $855 million in it. 4 weekend, 4 releases, a 51% decline. From its outing so far, Universal's big budget musical has earned $312 million domestically and for $67 million globally. We Give For Good appear to be running out of steam much faster than his predecessor 2024's figure. A standout specifically box office includes The Close hammered the 1.5 million forms and 49 million Venuses, that's roughly 5 lakh less than Minke, despite playing in a fraction of the number of Trader. So far have met, a well-reviewed tragedy starring J. Buck and Paul Maskell that follows the death of William Shakespeare's son, has a May $7 million to do. That's impressive because Focus, his future, is now bringing the films national-wide until January. After this glam weekend, our article says he said that $8.1 million snores a mere 0.5% ahead of last year, as well as 22% behind 2019, according. According to Gore, cinemas are about to get a major boost from holiday offering, including James Cameron, Epic Water, Fire and Ash, Paramount Spawn Bag Movie, Sarbrand and Lawrence Gatelier, The Housemate on December 19th, as well as Air Torfor and Jelping Adventure Mary Supreme, Broken Out Zootopia, to count $333 million domestic, $1.13 million abroad. The sequel is the fifth for Disney's animation studio film to class $1 billion on award. It's also the aired MPA title to clock more than $1 billion at the International Bio. After the launching, Zodia 2 is the #1 and MPA title, Ashi Foreign BU and the #1 global MBA. Releases currently of 2025. Walt Disney's animation Zootopia 2 has crossed $1.46 million, global becoming Walt Disney's Animation Studios' top-grossing movie of a la N Pixels Inside Out, to remain the top-grossing overall animated title for Disney's at $698 million, and the top of all the MPA animated feature with $2.15 million is the top-grossing animated movies ever among W Disney's animation double movie Zootopia. Elsa Frozen on IC #2. Sport with $1.45 million, Broken also to appear to, con $333 million domestic. The sequel is the fit for Disney's animation studio film to cross $1 million around. It's also the air temper title to clock more than $1 billion at International Bio after The Loin King. ZW2 is a #1 and middle title, Agi Foreign Bio and #1 global MIA release, currently 2025, and #1 MIA title Foreign Bio. A year-to-date, Broken J is no declared bus. And Baron Hova directed movie has performed offshore China, France, Japan, and Korea. Germany $60 million Mexico. UK and Italy today, wild.